are back for another Friday conversation, and I have with me a super fun friend, Mandy Jester. She does photography. She is a photographer. She has her own business, and we met in the world of military. Mm-hmm. All things military. While our husbands were being trained to do their thing, we were holding down the fort. But I think the best story actually is our story and how we met. I'm standing in my neighbor's front yard, and they have this fantastically, I don't even know, I mean, it's an old green truck. What do they call that truck?
Norman. It has a name.
How old is it?
Ooh, you're going to stump me on that. I think it's a Chevrolet, right?
Yes. That's in the pictures. It's a Chevy.
Yes, it's a Chevy. We got that much, but I'm not a car person, so I don't know
it's like 40s. I would say 40s, 50s.
It's fantastic.
It's amazing. Yeah. Well, old Norman was being pulled out, and I'm going, "What are you doing?" And she goes, "This photographer found me and wanted to know if she could use the truck for her." I think at that time it was fall setup, right? You were doing mini shoots.
It was for the Christmas mini session, but it was fall time because I was doing the models in their front yard. So I had like a preview to advertise with.
Nice. So we literally, Mandy pulled up and I was like, "I need you. I'll find you. And I need some logo and marketing shots done." And we seriously, between children and guys running here and there, we made it happen. And we're gonna share a little bit more about that story and the coldest day of our life.
It was a good story.
In just a little bit. But first, number one, thank you so much. You are incredibly talented. You are super busy sharing your passion with the world. I'm so thankful to have you on here, but I would love for you to give us a little bit of your background, whatever you want to share.
Sounds good. Well, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you for asking me. I'm very flattered. So I have been a photographer for probably about 10 years. However, the journey has looked different throughout the 10 years, but my first paid shoot was 10 years ago. And then I am military, as you mentioned, or my husband's military, I'm a spouse. So we've moved quite a bit, and each location has come with different challenges. And so sometimes I've focused more on this business and other times I have not. But about 3 years ago now, we were in Pensacola, and I kind of really put my all into it and started we got an LLC and made it official, and I started advertising, and there's a huge tourist population there that are looking for photographers. So I kind of got the ball rolling and made it more of like a part-time job, if you will. And then moving here to Columbus, Mississippi, which is where we met and where I'm located. You gotta love it. And it's really just taken off. It's been almost a full-time gig, if you will. I'm still a stay-at-home mom and supportive wife, but this has been the vocation, and it's been so great. I'm a creative, and so I always need a creative outlet. I've tried the blogging like you do, that you're way better than I was. and I've tried different creative outlets. This has been clutch. This has been good for me.
Do you know, though, your blog actually, after we met in the front yard, and I'm like, I'm totally going to stalk you and figure out what you do.
Yeah.
I read your blog, and I was blown away with your words. Just reading through what you had to say, I'm like, oh, I want my stuff to sound more like you. Like I could almost put myself in the story that you were telling at that point. So do not sell yourself short on that front.
It was fun. It was really fun. I did enjoy it. Thank you. But this has been a good fit for me.
But I think hands down, I've worked with several photographers through the years, and you have been a joy and a pleasure to work with. Never, when you go into a setting to take photos, you just don't know necessarily the photographer's personality. Right. You try and screen, but if you're doing mini sessions, I don't mean screen like you're out. I don't mean that type.
See if you have a connection with the person. It does help have a connection with the photographer.
That's the word I was looking for, not screening. I'm in COVID mode. We're screening everybody.
That's okay. I got at least I passed your screen.
You did. In the front yard. I knew it was I knew it was going to work when you were dealing with an old truck.
Well, and we're both extroverts, and I do kind of market and myself, and my personality is fun, and I'm awkward from the beginning, so people don't have to feel awkward when they come to a session, because I just start off on the awkward. I already beat them in awkwardness. So, and yeah, I literally sit down now when people come to my sessions and I say, this is going to be fun. Like, we're going to get a picture for grandma where you're all smiling and you're cute and your faces are all looking at me, but more so I'm looking for you guys to laugh and tickle and play and run, and I'm going to shoot that, and we're going to get good pictures out of this. So there is an element of wanting that fun photographer that you have a connection with, not someone who is making it a chore. So,
and I think that's important when you are looking for a photographer.
Right.
Across the board right now, I know, okay, for example, 13 years ago when we got married, a dear family friend on Christopher's side did our photos, and I was in love. Yeah. He was very photojournalistic. That's when he is an artsy photographer. So he goes in to get like these stunning sunsets, and they're black and whites, and it's very vivid contrast. And that's what I wanted then. I wanted those pops of color. But now, what would you say? Let's just kind of talk about trending right now. I feel like that's a good place to start.
Yeah, absolutely.
If there were 3 types or a certain amount of types of photographers and their styles, what would you say those are right now? Just to give people choices.
I would say the biggest trend right now is the dark and moody look, which is going to be really contrasty. A lot of sunset sessions, which is the golden hour, as we call it in photography. So an hour before sunset, which is always the prime time to do pictures, whatever your style is, just because you don't have the harsh sunlight causing shadows on your face. But the dark moody often has an orange tone or a sepia tone, but it's still color. It's not black and white. So that would be probably what I see the most, or maybe that's just my preference. So I follow that more because I do follow a ton of stuff to keep up to date. And then the completely opposing style, but also like a very popular style, is the light and airy, which is going to be, especially I see it in the South, like a very white look, like bright color, very subtle pastels.
Whimsical, romantic.
Yes, exactly. And then there is that artsy, a lot of people, the third style I would take note of is just this really artsy, like you're paying a photographer to give you 3 pictures, like, because they're just going to edit the crap out of that picture and just make it look like a storybook almost, or a painting. So those are kind of the 3 that I see the most in the different blogs, the different Facebook groups that I follow.
And so right now I'm watching your social media feed, and I'm seeing that we're in the throes of our cotton photos coming back. Are we done with cotton?
Literally a week from today is my first cotton mini session. So that's a huge trend here in the South, or Mississippi especially. And they're beautiful. Those white puffy fields, they just add this cute, perfect backdrop, very iconic Mississippi.
Very great for Christmas cards.
It is.
If you're wanting to do more just an everyday, because I feel like, especially in the South, cotton is part of the lives there. So it's not necessarily fall as much as it is a staple.
Yeah, it is. And it is definitely, having lived here now, you just think cotton when you think Mississippi, and it's a very popular session. It sold out almost immediately, and I still have people asking me, can you fit me in? Can you fit me in? But I do always shoot in that golden hour. I try to, and I'm already, maxing out my sunshine. So,
okay. If they're setting up a mini session, right? Let's talk about how long you feel like you need to get, and I know every photographer goes about this differently, but from your experience, a mini session takes about how long?
So I do 20-minute mini sessions. I will say up front, mini sessions are my least favorite thing to do. I personally am all about connection and meeting my clients and getting to know them. I send out for a long session, like a full session, I send out a questionnaire. I ask them to tell me 3 words about themselves, and I try and cater their shoot to be about them. And if they say they're goofy, we're going to jump and we're going to laugh and we're going to do this. If they say they're shy, we're going to, do more serious faces and stuff. So mini sessions are not my fave, but they're very much an essential when you're going with something like cotton or the truck Norman that we met on, because so many people want them. I just can't be taking pictures every night. I still need time with my family. And if I were to do an individual session for everyone in the cotton, it would take forever. So they're a necessary thing. But yeah, 20 minutes for me is how long I do those. And they're very manufactured, unfortunately, which is not my style, but we're going to stand here, we're going to pose, now look at each other, and then we're going to sit and now giggle and laugh. And I try and still get those interactions and that feeling of togetherness for people. But I really love when I have a full hour with people like we did, where you just get to play and just have fun and be you. And,
Well, and if you are looking for, I think, just a photo that is not on a tripod that you've tried to time out in a field, and you need it for correspondence at the holidays, or grandma's Christmas present.
Yes.
The mini session is a fantastic way to go. And you will have, if you just throw it out on a social media platform, you will have 7,000 people give you a different name of a photographer.
Oh yeah.
So as you, being a professional, what would you tell people if they're looking for just this quick set? Are there tips that you would tell people to say, okay, you're going to want to look for X, Y, and Z when you start the process of looking for a photographer?
For just a mini session?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say you need to know what style you're looking for. I just was going through this with my sister. She lives in Colorado, and she is looking for a photographer for her fall Christmas pictures. And she's sending me all these photographers. And it's an opinion-based thing. It's subjective. So I can't tell her, what I have to be like, can you send me what you like the most? And then I'll help you find something in your budget that is good enough. Or good for,
right.
Good quality, good price. There's so many different factors and variables going in there. So once you know your style, if you're looking for that light and airy, if you're looking for dark and moody, if you just want, you might want more black and whites. So definitely go to their website, go to their social media, go to their Instagram, and troll through it and just see what sticks out to you. And if you love everything that they're doing, that is going to be your photographer. Another great thing would be to call or touch base with them just to kind of feel out their personality. Because as we were talking about earlier, if you're comfortable with the person, you're going to smile better. You're going to feel, especially for a mini session when it's so quick, you're really going to want to find someone who you don't need to warm up to. Like, it's going to be fun. It's going to be immediate. And a third thing would be references and asking friends that have already worked with that person, because all of us, including me, put our best foot forward on our social media and our website. It's not always, what you're going to get necessarily, not that I'm saying my work is less than that. Like, I do put out a picture from every session, but I'm going to give you 8 pictures and I'm only going to show off 1 for a mini session. And so you definitely want to ask people in the past, like, did you like all 8? Were they great? Did she work well with you? And you really, word of mouth ends up being the best way to get connections with people, especially for the mini sessions.
Absolutely. And there again, that right there, I think, nutshells it right there together. Yeah. You just want to find that connection with somebody. I know that's when you and I started working together, it was kind of, I'm not going to lie. Number one, there was the truck and the fact that you were in Heather's front yard. And I was like, I love Heather. Therefore, I probably like Mandy. And you're a military spouse. Yep. So there again, I wanted to support the local.
Right.
And I knew I kind of had a tall order for you. So us being similar in age, the same creative brain, I was like, I think we've got something here.
Absolutely. But it really was a connection, like we knew right away, and even became friends because it wasn't just a photography relationship. It was like, oh, we have so much in common. And, which is the beautiful thing about this work, is that there are people that come out of this that just started as a client, but they end up being friends because it is an intimate process of capturing, especially when it was you and I doing our session, it was one-on-one. So, this intimate session of, hey, what do you want this to look like? Who do you want to be portrayed as? Like, how can we make you, look like the fun, creative, wonderful woman that you are.
And not the yoga pants
yeah.
and frumpy t-shirt that I normally look like. Well,
not me. Never.
Surely my hair is always done. And no.
I know. I'm like, thank you for giving me an excuse to put a blouse on. So,
hey, COVID 2020 is the bonus year.
Oh, I know.
Bonus.
we'll get out of this someday, won't we?
And we'll take many positive memories with it.
Absolutely. Lots of togetherness with our children. And
that's right. We just got to get there first. That's all.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Well, let's just talk about it was not a mini session. It was full on. We could have gone for another, and we started in the morning actually because it was December. No,
it was cloudy. So if it's cloudy, I can shoot anytime. It's really the sun that I have to work around. So yeah, I feel like it was January, but I might be it was definitely just cold.
It was freezing. And in Columbus, Mississippi, there is never a freezing day, but it was so cold.
I remember texting you days ahead of time and I'm like, it really, say, I don't remember if it was Saturday, but let's say it's a Saturday. I'm like, it looks freezing. Like, are you sure you want to do that? Because you were going to wear a dress and like I told you, I'm like, I get to put a coat on, and a hat and whatever else. You have to be in this dress with no sleeves. And I'm like, are you sure? You're like, yeah, let's do it.
Hey, that is full force ahead is how I run. And
I knew it would be a great shoot though, because you were like, yes, I'm going to do it. Let's do it.
and it didn't matter. And that was, if you have not, any female out there, if you have not taken just for fun, go do a photo shoot. You will feel amazing about yourself. Whether you are, right now, your life journey is you are a mom, you are, your children's biggest cheerleader, you're your husband, partner's biggest cheerleader, go do a session. You have a
dream, right?
You have an excuse to go get dressed up, wear your hair a different way, put on more makeup than you normally would, pick out a new shade of lipstick.
Yep.
You'll feel like $1,000,000. Well, we got this day started off and I'd already told Mandy, I was like, okay, we kind of need to cover a lot of ground because I would like to use the photos for marketing, logo, social media, and everything in between. She was like, all right, I'm ready. I was like,
totally.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
So I started building floral designs and trying to coordinate clothing to go with different scenarios. And when I got there, don't over prepare for this. Go have fun. Because when I got there, I'm literally changing outfits in the car. I couldn't feel my fingers. I think it was 26 degrees.
Yeah, I was thinking somewhere in the 25 to 30 range. Very cold.
It was very cold.
Especially. And it's a wet cold here. So, because I've lived up north and it's a different cold here. It bites.
It was brutal. It was brutal.
But we were so fun and we didn't care. We were just, once we got into it, it was like, this is great. Who cares?
I was like, edit the fact that I look like Rudolph and I don't know if my nose is running because I can't feel it.
Yep. We made all that work and we were running around, tossing scarves, twirling, tossing leaves.
And y'all, as much of an extrovert as what I am, going on Main Street, USA, and walking and sashaying and throwing leaves. I was having a bit of a hard time with all of this, but we pulled it off. In fact, I'm going to link some of these photos. In fact, I'll probably pop them up in here and let people see how much fun this truly can be. Now, getting out to the country with Norman, the green truck.
The green truck.
Was my favorite. That was the least amount of clothes that I had on. Little red dress.
We had our favorite thing in the truck, mimosas. I was like, this is the best photography job ever because I get to drink a mimosa. I'm shooting with the camera and, excuse me, hold on.
We're cheersing. We
Yes.
are giggling. I felt like $1,000,000. And that is what you really are looking for with a photographer. Think of it like your sister, your bestest friend, your sister, somebody that can make you open up and show the world what you have.
Yeah.
And that's what Mandy does.
Oh, that's sweet. That's like my greatest compliment is when people say, like, it's one thing to like my pictures. I mean, that's a product of what I do. But when people say, this is the most fun we've ever had on a shoot, or you made my kids smile like no one ever has before, that's truly what makes me want to go back and do this day after day. You know, that's the good stuff.
Well,
So, but you texted me, I remember, right afterwards, and you're like, that was so fun. As my hands were thawing out. It's like,
and I think I sent you a fun cocktail to try later too.
oh, and I did. I made it.
I found the picture the other day. I was like,
oh,
she made it.
I'm always game for the cocktail game, so it was good.
Well, and there again, just simple touches, things that you're trying to accomplish, whether you're building a business, you want to showcase just a fun photo wall, hire a photographer to do the splurge, if it is a splurge to you, in fact, to get somebody in to help you really feel at home, especially right now when there's limited connection to the outside world, right? Make sure your home is the way you want it.
Yeah. And I do feel like you can tell when people are doing a cell phone picture versus an actual picture. And we can cover a lot of ground in an hour if you are a blogger or someone who posts on social media for profit or for activism or whatever it is. In an hour session, you know, we can cover your next 10, 15 blogs. You know, I've done a lot of business marketing photo shoots and do the details and do you and your natural habitat and stuff like that. And it really is nice, I think, when you open up a blog or something and you see that professional picture, it really kind of changes the seriousness of it.
It makes a huge difference. In fact, as I'm blogging and coming up with concepts, I try and plan about 3 months in advance. Yes. That's the dream.
Yeah,
doesn't
right?
always happen.
How life
That's
works.
the dream.
I'm trying to get to tomorrow right now, but you know.
I got on makeup today. We're doing good.
I know, look at us.
So when you're planning that far in advance, you do have a chance to really work on concepts and making sure you have planned material. So it's not, now some of my stuff, you know, you can tell it's a bit more rushed. But a lot of times, now this is with your photographer's permission, and we're going to touch on that in just a second too. But I have a graphic designer who's helped me with my logos and some of my social media presence. So she'll take the photos that the photographer has taken, and the photographer and I, depending on what you want to do with it, the photographer needs to okay what you want to do with that. Like that needs to be part of your conversation going in. Hey, I'm using this for marketing. Is it okay if, you know, I know Kim, my logo girl, she'll zoom in on certain areas. You know, if we're like talking about like the mimosas and you had zoomed in really close on my hand pouring the champagne.
Right.
But she zoomed in even more because we had a smaller space. So what are your feelings on that? Like we discussed that we might need to manipulate, but I would never change color. I mean, I wouldn't change it from black and white to black and white or anything like that. But tell us how that works from your standpoint, because this is your art.
Yes, it really is. And so we do a contract up front. If you pick a photographer, make sure they have a contract, because that usually makes them legit. So we do a contract, and it says in it that you're giving permission to me that it is my art, and I will be able to use my art for social media, advertising, you know, basically most things. And that's something some people do come to me and ask, can we abridge this somehow? Can we amend this? And I'm always willing to work with people, because sometimes people don't want to put their kids on social media, which is totally respectable. Like this can all be worked with, but in a general scenario, like I do permit, you know, they permit me to post as advertisement, and I obviously am fine with my art being displayed from your end, especially because it can also be marketing for me. So it's great. Word of mouth is the best. But yeah, so the contract states that you also, own the rights. You own the printing rights for your pictures is what it technically says. But it does say not to edit, not to, especially filters. That's probably it's like a pet peeve when people go on Instagram and they throw some crazy filter over it. It just changes everything. It makes it kind of, when we're talking about styles, if you change my light and airy picture to a dark and moody picture, and then someone comes to me and hires me because they saw your Instagram picture that had the filter on it, they're going to not get what they expect. And I'm going to feel bad, that, oh, sorry, that's not my style, but they put a filter on it. So now you think it is, and then their expectations aren't going to get met. So it's very important that the art goes out as it was created. However, myself, especially, I'm very flexible. Like if people want to do certain things with their photos, I just ask that they talk to me about it. And that happens all the time. Like even to make something in black and white, just flipping a switch and pushing black and white on your computer doesn't make it great art, because I spend a lot of time on my black and whites editing them in a special way to make them look good. Like there's a whole different editing process to make a black and white picture versus a color picture. It's not just pushing a button in Photoshop saying black and white. Right. So I do ask that people come to me, and people do all the time. And I'm very receptive and just, hey, I really wanted picture 7 in black and white. Done. Let me fix that for you. Happy to do it. Oh, I really wanted it to be landscape instead of, portrait, and done. Let me help you with that. Like I would rather have people come to me and ask me to do it than them just doing it on their own time.
And there again, by doing some due diligence, whether it be setting up the colors to coordinate your family,
right,
or having the concept, which Mandy pointed out that she likes people to give her a photo and be like, oh, I really like this, and this is why I like it. It's the why I like it that's the important part.
Absolutely.
Because this is art. You don't want to recreate somebody else's memory and photo. Right. You want to take the concept and engulf it in that photo, in that setting.
Pinterest has created this whole new avenue for, I'm sure in your business too, but in photography. And so I've gotten in the habit now, as I mentioned, that the welcome letter, the questionnaire I send out, one of the questions says, are there any photos you're trying to recreate? Any Pinterest boards that you have been looking at? And almost just because I was getting to these sessions and people were pulling up their phone and they're saying, I really want this picture. And I'm like, well, I need a ladder to do that. And I need this blanket to do that. And I need a, crate for your kid to stand on. And I didn't know ahead of time, so I can't bring that stuff, but I am more than excited to help recreate that photo. But as you're saying, in my style, you hired me for a reason, or whoever your photographer is. So trust your photographer that they're going to put together an image that's going to be equally as cool as the one you're showing me, but have its own flair, because you don't want a direct Pinterest copy.
Right.
That's just not fun. So
no, and here's my tip. Working with some amazing photographers over the years, Mandy, of course, being one of my most favorites.
You have to say that because I'm here.
No, it's a true story.
I love it.
I think letting the creative do what they do best is the way to go. So if they're telling you that, okay, the lighting is, let them create. So don't get so fixated on something. And I used to tell brides this all the time too. Don't get so fixated on that one color that you overlook the beauty of the whole thing. Right. We're only given so much to work with. Yeah. And we need to create what we see in that moment. So let the professional do what they do best.
Let us surprise you with, let me surprise you with a cool picture that you didn't think was coming, because I'll use your idea with my creativity and we'll make something new and cool, even cooler, that maybe we'll be the ones that people are showing on Pinterest, oh, look, there's Mandy Jester photography and Amber's picture.
And do you know that my cover, no, it's not the cover, it's the profile picture right now on Inspiring Time of me peeking through, maybe it's on Instagram, I don't remember where I have it right now, but I'm peeking through orange roses. I never in a million years would have thought that would have been a fantastic photo, but I'm like,
so cute. And now it's used. Look at that.
So let them do.
And sometimes it doesn't work out too. Sometimes we'll think we're doing something really cute and funny, and I'll get to Photoshop. I'll be like, delete. That's not the one. So you don't know, but you have to just play with things and have some fun and just see what you can come up with. Because if you're not trying new things, you're not gonna get that cool new photo that no one ever thought you'd come up with. So
absolutely. Well, I know we're probably getting on towards time, but I wanted to ask you about this fun project that I just saw you take on in the middle of COVID, and y'all are in a tight knit community right now. And so lots of homes pretty close together. Tell us this fun project.
Okay, I wanted to say on our last conversation, always tag your photographer. I didn't say that. And like when you're posting on social media, I know this is a little off subject, but from the last, we didn't mention that when you are sharing their work, give them credit. Just like you wouldn't put a quote out there from Martin Luther King Jr. and not put his tagline on it. So that's that. But then this project. So during COVID, obviously, we couldn't do pictures. It's just, we had the stay-at-home order here, which I think everybody had. And so I definitely stopped. I do a lot of newborn and studio work as well as my outdoor photography. And so that was a definite no-no. And then I did do a couple, not when the stay-at-home order was on, but when, before that, I did a couple of sessions where I just stayed 6 feet away, because you really can do that. Put on a zoom lens, just do it. So we did a couple of those, but it really got to a point where it just wasn't safe and to do actual like family photography and definitely not studio work. And so me and a couple other photographers around our neighborhood here got together and we offered it for free. It was called the Front Porch Project. It was actually a national hashtag. So people all over the nation were doing it kind of to keep our creative minds going, right? But also to really capture and memorialize this time in our lives that is so unique and so different that I hope someday we're all looking back and, smirking at, right? Or laughing or thinking, gosh, we went through that. That's cool. We're going to do that, right? Okay. So we went around and it was a free shoot, and we went and just took pictures of people on their front porch from way over 6 feet away. I had a 85 zoom lens on, so I was pretty far away. I just went there. It was a quick and easy. I think they got 3 photos for free. Some people just took it, made it so fun and did silly things like wearing masks or gas masks or holding signs that we're doing this for grandma, stay at home for grandma, or different things. Some people did it really silly. Other people used it as an opportunity to update their family picture. My neighbors across the street were like, this is my favorite shoot we've done with you. And this is their 3rd shoot with me. And it was a front porch project. I was like, okay, I'm just glad that you got those cute. I mean, their son was just smiley and cute and having a good old time. And so it was a really fun project, and it gave me so much life as an extrovert when we were all stuck inside. I got at least a little social interaction and to flex my creative muscles. And it was really fun, really fun. You could go back on my Instagram and see them all, the little.
They were so adorable.
They turned out really good, right?
And I really think that if you live in a community, what a great way. I love the whole, you've been booed. Have you ever had that done?
Yes. Oh yeah. That's so fun. Pass it on kind of.
Yes. I think right now when, we don't know whether or not Halloween and all the fun holiday things that start gearing up about this time, we don't know if they're going to happen. So how much fun would it be if maybe a community, neighborhood size, chipped in and got a photographer and literally gave the photographer a golf cart so they could go from like house to house.
Cute idea to do costumes.
And do costumes.
Because you don't have any reason to dress up this year if we're not going to trick or treat. So
I think there's just so many fun ways you could spin that. And again, yes, it's a mini session. No, you really don't get to know the client.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? When all this is over, you're probably they're going to think that was the most amazing photo ever. It was fun, different, and in the end, they're going to come back. And
we'll never forget this time. Not that you're going to forget it either way, but at least you have a picture to say. And we actually did it. We did it for free, but we asked that people donate it. We didn't hold any accountability to Loaves and Fishes, because it was a time when people were needing help, like our economy was struggling. And so it was great to also have that charitable side to it where we could give back. So you never know, even asking a photographer to do something for Halloween, whether they'll even want compensation, maybe it would give them life to make it a charitable thing. So there's a lot. Photographers love to be asked to do creative, fun things. And I know for me, I am very honest. I'll either tell you, yes, that's what I want to do, or nope, I don't want to do that, or I'm not good enough to do that. That's not my style. That's not my, avenue. And that's okay too. I know what I'm good at. I know what gives me life. And those are the things I try and hone in on. So, but always ask.
Always ask. I feel like Friday Conversations, it kind of morphed from me thinking, we really want to do interviews. And then I thought, interviews are not really my style. I like conversations. I like taking women that I've worked with, and right now, yes, it's women for the most part, but women that I've worked with, and letting others see how their light shines very brightly in the world. And I think that you have one of the brightest shining lights ever.
Thank you. That means a lot.
I look back through the photos that we created, and it was about 3 hours, but they're so meaningful. And yes, I've had other headshots done before, and I have memories that go along with those. And just looking at photos in general, I think it's just a great way to recreate that fun, special time, something that's usually hung pretty prominently in your house, and such a great way to stay positive during a time of uncertainty.
Absolutely. I've been so busy this year. I mean, I think that is attributed to COVID and just the fact that we are spending more time with our families, and we are realizing the value of family, value of being together and togetherness, and wanting to capture that. And also maybe nothing else to do. I don't know, but
right.
People have come out of the woodwork and needed photos at this time. And I love it. And I love that we are making it a priority. And I don't think you'll ever regret capturing this time in your life. Like whether you're a couple that, are just doing the couple thing, whether you're a family with little kids or older kids, I don't ever think you're going to walk away from a photo session, and be like, I shouldn't have done that. You're always going to be the opposite. I wish I would have taken photos when my kids were 4 and 6, like I forgot to take them that year. And I wish I would have, because I don't really remember what they look like.
Okay. Well, let's leave people on this note. You are absolutely, my number one tip would be find a photographer. It's worth it. Every aspect of it. But if there was a mom wanting to maybe brush up on, would you recommend, is there an online class that maybe they could feel a little bit more confident if they're just shooting a photo out on the playground, or a camera, or just stick with your phone? What would you tell them?
Oh, I love telling people to get a camera. I think they're invaluable. Obviously I do a ton of pictures of my kids on my phone because it's accessible. It's easy. But I don't know, there's something just super neat about having a camera, and you can get like a Rebel. I shoot Canon, so that's kind of their
I'm an Nikon girl. That's the only thing we differ on.
only thing. No. Yeah. But I'm a Canon. I don't know what the Nikon even is called of their base level, but the Rebel is the Canon one. And it's probably $350, which I know can be a stretch for some people, but a couple Christmas presents, a couple, stop drinking coffee for a month. I could never do that, but that's what people say. But yeah, to get something nice, and you can shoot in auto to start, but the manual mode really is where your pictures come to life. And personally for me, I'm very tactile, hands-on. Like I wouldn't do well on an online class, but I'm sure there's plenty of online stuff. I don't really have any particular references, but there are a lot of photographers, especially if you're in a bigger city, that would call it like Momtography, like just taking a simple class. I even have heard rumors of people wanting to do it here, that can teach you that manual mode in your camera to kind of learn how to do when your kids are running around, what speed, what f-stop, what aperture, you want to be on, or when they're sitting still, or when the light's low, what ISO are you going to do? All these technical terms, but they can give you like the basis of that. And then, YouTube is just got a plethora. I still use YouTube. I used it last night I wanted to put a really cool sky in someone's photo that had a blown out sky. And I've done it 100 times, but I pulled up a YouTube video just because I was feeling like it was taking too long and learned a new trick. I've been doing this 10 years and I learned a new trick. So
and
it's just so fun.
You never stop learning. And YouTube, yes.
Yes.
There's
a lot of good resources. Phlearn, Phlearn is a great photography free
platform
editing stuff. Yeah. So I use him a lot just because I know it's reliable, but it might be a little more in depth for our momtographers, if you will. But just start on auto and just start going. That's how I started photography in general, was just picking up a Rebel and shooting my friends, random maternity here. I would never show you those pictures, but I thought I was good at the time. I was an artist, I went to school for art, and I was like, I'm good, right?
Absolutely. And their memories captured. And that's all that matters.
They didn't know the difference, but now I need to do one of those Instagram, like swipe over to see how much progress, like especially my newborn. I just was mentored in newborn photography about a year ago. And just like I said, I'm a hands-on learner. So being mentored has been the key to my photography in general. Everywhere we've moved, I've reached out to a mentor and asked them to teach me something specific. Cause I get asked a lot, like, can you teach me photography? And I'm like, ooh, that's a lot. Like, that's a big category. So pick something. Do you want to learn f-stop? Do you want to learn lighting? Do you want to learn business? Because there's so much more that goes into it. Business, technology. I can't even say the word technology, and Photoshop, editing. Like, there's so many different aspects to it. Pick an aspect. And that's what I've done in our whole moving career. So the first guy, he taught me editing because I didn't know much about editing. Then it was business. Needed to learn more about how to do business because really there's a lot of administrative and financial and taxes, all that stuff. That's just, when you have a creative mind, that's not typically my strong point. So
no, I can come up with content all day long. Don't ask me to balance those books.
Oh gosh. And then I'll get back to people late and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Administrative just isn't my strong suit, but it's okay. I'm good.
They're on vacation. Sorry. I don't know.
I know. Oh, it's so much. But yeah, just finding someone to teach you, someone that, and I don't know many photographers that wouldn't be excited if you came to them and said, hey, can I go to a session with you and learn more about X or Y? Right. And so just ask someone. I've always done it. I'm an extrovert though, so I know it's harder for some people, but
that's, yes, I forget that aspect about myself.
I know. I'm like, I just go and ask. I'm like, I love your work. Teach me how you do this. I want to know. Like, if it's something you're passionate about and you love, you want to share it.
That's right. So if you take nothing away from today other than take that inner passion and let it shine, the world needs passionate people about what they do. And photography is just one way to make sure that it's actually caught in a moment that's shareable. So, oh my gosh, Mandy, thank you. So we could talk forever.
I know. I could talk forever. I'm like, good thing we have an endpoint because I got to go get my kids. But
and I got to go get them.
I would do this all day. I know. You're like, you want to do a podcast? I'm like, have a conversation with Amber? Yes, please.
Coffee and a conversation.
So
yes.
Should we do part 2? No.
I think we should absolutely do part 2.
Anytime.
We'll make it like spring, and maybe it'll be post COVID. We'll see.
Oh, I could only pray and hope, but
yes.
But yeah, thank you for all your sweet compliments and hiring me to do some of your headshots. And we had you can tell how much fun we're having, and I love that. So it's
friends for life, military spouses and friends for life.
You never know when we'll actually physically run into each other again, because that is how this military life works.
That's absolutely right. But I know there's somebody at every base that you go to. I probably know. So I'll just go ahead and start that conversation for you.
I love it. Thank you. You know me, I need friends. So I'll take them.
Same.
Yeah, same.
All right. Thank you again. We'll be talking to you. I'm sure there's a part 2 coming.
Okay, I'm excited. I'll be ready.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Bye.